It's the day of the Beatles, not the band, the cars. Right now, right here.
Do you like our logo? Yeah, we thought you would. Get it now at our partner Spreadshirt.net.
Greetings pedalheads and welcome to the next episode of It's a Mod World. Today we're driving a Porsche of sorts, as the classic Beetle was designed by Ferdinand Porsche himself. We're sitting in a racing car. And yes, I've chosen the Herbie livery so that we are in a racing car of sorts, which is a Porsche of sorts. First, I'll test the mod for the Volkswagen Beetle of 1967, and then I'm gonna test the mod for a racing new Beetle RSi. But let us start with the classic Beetle, and what is more classic than Herbie? Here we are inside of Herbie. And because it's Herbie, I have a second seat and all the rest, and this is not a racing car. Wait, I have the security cell, so it is a racing car. But, okay. Do I have a hat? No, I don't have a... Ugh, I'm the Hessian soldier from Sleepy Hollow. Ugh. Oh yeah, this is the classic design of the old Beetle. Ha! Oh yeah, the motor. Yes, the Beetle had the motor at the back, but there is no motor here, just some very basic graphic that I suppose it's meant to be the motor when you look from the outside. Look at the arrow! The arrow is nice. Hehe. The murmur of this car sure sounds like an old Beetle. But this, on the other hand, does not sound like a Beetle, at least not the Beetles that I know. And yes, I've heard racing Beetles. And besides the sound of the motor, there are no other sounds here. Sure, I'm not expecting the whining of a turbo, but the brakes, the interior, I don't know, suspension, nothing. Not exactly the fastest acceleration in the world, but it's a Beetle! As was to be expected, it's very sluggish when you change the gears. Think very carefully if you really want to upshift, because as the changing of gears is so sluggish and this car has a horrible acceleration, which is the way this car behaved, you're gonna lose time every time you upshift. So if you only upshift for a short while, you better should not, especially as this mod doesn't care if you keep the motor on high revs. In reality, you might break the motor, but with this mod, you don't. You may want to go as high as possible with the motor revolutions before you upshift, because if not, you may lose a lot of acceleration. It's not the best of force feedbacks that I've encountered, but it's not the worst either. On the other hand, the stability is very unrealistic, which shows on the force feedback. When flying over the curbs like I just did, the wheel should have gone bonkers, but it didn't. So as I said, the force feedback is not realistic because the stability is not realistic. And another point, you cannot block the tires in this mod. And believe me, I've tried. You don't notice in the force feedback when you're braking, and as I said, you don't block the tires in any kind of way. Max speed 195, yeah right, sure baby. I saved that one by sheer luck. Incredible speeds, 120 km/h, no 140, no 145. I would have loved to do a race with this car, but somehow it loads the track mod, it loads the car mod, and then it drops me back to Assetto Corsa launcher. So I don't know what's going on there. This behavior was exactly the same when choosing a track that was not a mod, so I don't think that it's in the track. On the other hand, I would like to know how the French guys were able to do so. But maybe this mod cannot be raised as an AI and can only be raised against other players. I don't know. Let's go for the notes for the classic Beetle. It looks fantastic, it looks very well. Okay, it doesn't have a motor in the motor, but that's a detail. I find the aero very cute, and I find it excellent that they have a livery that is Herbie. For the look, I'm gonna give it 5 eyes out of 5. The sound, okay, when it's not moving, the murmur sounds like a classic Beetle, but when you're racing it, the motor doesn't sound anymore like a Beetle motor, not even like a racing Beetle. And there are no other sounds here, so I'll give it 2 ears out of 5. The driving feeling, it's completely unrealistic. There is a little bit of force feedback, but there is not really a driving feeling here. I give it 1 wheel out of 5. Now don't get me wrong, this may still be fun to race, so if you only want to race around and have fun, this mod is good for that, but it's not a mod for the Beetle, it's just a mod for a Beetle kinda car. We now move 30-something years into the future and land ourselves in the new Beetle RSi. Toto, I think we're not in Herbie anymore. So this is the new Beetle, and it does look more like a racing car with all the buttons. Whoa, look at that! The wheel goes through my leg. Ow, that must hurt. And the feet are not where the pedals are. The positioning of the driver in this mod is only correct with regards to the hand, everything else is askew. With the new Beetle having the motor at the front, I cannot go and look if it's there because my VR setting doesn't allow me to. Some smudges of green here. Well, it happens. You work and work and work on a mod and then forget that you left some smudges there. As I said, it happens to the best of us. The motor sounds more like a racing car, which comes at no surprise as the RSi was a limited edition, very much primed for racing. Some sounds from the gears, and some sounds from the suspension from going over the curbs. The wrong positioning of the pilot inside of this mod forces me to sit a little bit strangely, because if I don't sit this strange way, I don't see diddly. See that? I'm sitting too near to the wheel so that I can see something, and that makes my bad driving even worse. I even had to play a little bit with the centering, at least in VR, to get to a halfway acceptable sitting position in front of the wheel. The force feedback here is better than in the other mod. It's not the best force feedback that I've encountered, but still it's good enough. If I only could understand this car better. There are a couple of things in the handling of the car that I still don't understand well enough, at least with regards to the mod. So I am pretty sure that I am not racing correctly yet using this mod. One important example would be the braking before this chicane. I still have not found the sweet spot where to brake and how to brake without losing control of the car, so I struggle with this chicane more than I do with other cars. Here we go! I'm losing the first place already. What's happening here? Did it break the motor? Did they all break the motor? It seems all AI drivers break the motor at one point or the other. This means that the AI gear change is badly programmed. What a pity. It's that time in the video when I give the notes. This car looks very good. The only thing that disturbs me is the racing position, and I would count that inside of the looks. The position that I had to take to be able to drive in here did not help my driving, much to the contrary. The rest is quite well. Okay, the green smudges, but let's forget that. Because the pilot is not sitting correctly and it forces me to drive badly, well, okay, to drive worse than I normally do, I give it 4 eyes out of 5. The sound is quite well. You hear the gear changes and most of the rest, so I like it. It's not Assetto Corsa Competizione or Race from Racing Experience level, but it's quite good. For the sound, I give it 5 ears out of 5. The driving feeling, it's okay. I've had better, I've had worse. I'm gonna give it 4 wheels out of 5. Looking at these notes, more's the pity that you cannot drive against the AI. But one thing that you can and you should even do is get some friends, get some buddies, everyone gets a different livery and race around. Zolder is quite good for that, but you can race in every place. And enjoy these new Beetle RSi, of which anyway only 250 units were built. So with this mod you can be one of the lucky few who's driving an RSi mod in a simulation. Hey, better than nothing, innit? That would be all for today. Thank you very much for taking the time to watch this video. If you liked it, please applaud by leaving a like. If you didn't, please tell us why in the comments so that we can get better. If you think somebody else might enjoy it, I'd be thankful if you would share it. And if you want to see more of us, subscribe and don't forget to click on the bell. Until next time, save fuel, take pickup, and we'll see each other at the podium.
Visit romrom.net to connect to fellow sim racers and sim racing fans.